It's going to happen a lot more, and it's going to be proven a lot more that youth sport players can be professional.
We talked about the fact, great to see these youth sports guys can play. They can play with anyone.
Showtime! Oh! Showtime in Scarborough!
With the first pick, with the number 3 pick, with the 6th pick, the Winnipeg Sea Bears select Simon Hildebrand, Diego Mafia. This man is just
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.
Welcome to the CEBL Draft Reveal Show, which means we're that much closer to the season starting. We're back earlier than usual, but we're not mad about that.
Yeah.
S, my co-host from CEBL Weekly, and we are joined by the founder of Persevere, Deshaun Stevens. Thanks for taking the time to be here with us. You are our youth sports star, so you're going to get us through this program in efficient, and you're going to make us look a lot smarter here today, for sure. S, there's a unique opportunity for these youth sports players that are coming in, right? The season's starting a little bit earlier, so there's going to be an opportunity for them really make an impression in training camp. Talk about how they can take advantage of this.
Yeah, like you said, longer season, so that allows some of these players to get more opportunity, especially early in the year, get into the program, be a part of a professional environment, play and be with trainers who have, obviously trained professionally as well. I think that's a huge part of what the CEBL offers to some of these developmental guys. Also the fact, you'll talk about this, I imagine, but just these Canadian guys being able to play at home in Canada is a huge part of getting them used to that system professionally. So that's what's exciting about the CEBL draft, which is really stacked too.
Yeah. Deshaun, you're covering these guys and female athletes as well, obviously 365 days a year. We saw it in the last couple seasons. These players are really making an impact, and the level of athleticism and the skill set that we're seeing just keeps evolving year to year basis. What excites you about this draft class?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that excite me. First off, thanks for having me here. Appreciate being with both of you. But no, this is really one of the more stacked classes that I think we've seen in recent years. And I think the cool thing about this class as well is that this is really the first class of youth sports players that have kind of grown up with the CEBL being a part of their ecosystem. And so you're going to see a lot of guys that are coming back for their second time, third time, and being used to playing in the CEBL and kind of entering that age where they're maturing and their collegiate eligibility is running out and they're stepping into becoming a professional, and this season is going to matter a lot for them. So I'm excited to see where some of those names land. And of course, it's the second year of having the CCAA be part of the draft. So you're going to have some more CCAA names, some more big names as well. So I'm excited to see this draft class. It's going to be a really unique class, to say the least.
Yeah, certainly a really exciting draft class to look forward to. Now, somebody else that's really excited is our commissioner, Mike Moriali, and I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to Mike about this draft class, things to look forward to this season, and he also teased some things for the future as well, so let's get to that conversation right now. With the draft reveal just minutes away, that means we're just that much closer to a brand new season, and there's only one person I want to catch up with, and that's the commissioner, Mike Moriali. Mike, how you doing? How we feeling ahead of the draft reveal?
I'm excited. I'm just excited about the season coming and having a bunch of great new, impressive young people coming into our league and trying to do some great things.
Now, the draft itself is important for many reasons, but I want to know for you specifically, why is the development player rule important?
Well, if you look at why we built this league, it was built on a couple principles. We wanted to, build it for Canadian players and in return and showcase some of the guys that had to go on overseas and play professionally without a league in Canada. And we wanted to develop the next crew and group of, potentially great basketball players that can go on and do great and bigger and better things, whether that's here, whether that's away, or whether it's on the national team. So, if you look at the landscape of sports across the country, the hardest part is getting a chance and getting seen. So providing that opportunity really just opens the door. Then it's up to them. And whether they step on the court or play many, many minutes, that experience can carry them through not just back to U Sports or CCAA, but in their next stage of life.
Now, as we enter season 7, obviously a lot of new bells and whistles to look forward to, like the CEBL Summer Classic. We got the Red Deer game, Battle of Alberta. Is there anything about this particular season that you're looking forward to?
I love that we continue to spread our wings. We sold 2 teams. We've got maybe a third on the way to private ownership. That's a big deal for us because if you understand our history, we built this league in a way that we were going to build it in the Field of Dreams moment. If you build it, they will come. And, getting them here is just as hard as building the whole infrastructure. So, that success allows us to bring on individual owners and individual markets that can really invest in those communities. And we've seen the results, primarily out west, because that's kind of where we started. So that's exciting to me, is that year-over-year growth of what we're doing, the ability for us to attract high level talent, to expand our game into neutral sites, whether it be IGA Stadium in Montreal for the outdoor game, or whether it's in Red Deer, and in future years it'll likely go other places. I think this just speaks to the growth of the game of basketball, not just the CEBL, but we're happy to carry the torch.
Now, anyone that's seen a conversation with us knows that I'm always trying to pull teeth and trying to get the exclusive, right? We've got a lot of exciting things to look forward in the new year. Is there anything that you can tease us about, whether it's this season, seasons to come, that CEBL fans can get excited about?
Well, I will say this will be the biggest and best championship weekend we've ever done. And it may be the last one. We could look at morphing into maybe a more traditional playoff structure. It's been a great event for us. It's an amazing event, not just on the court, but off the court and the festival component. So if you follow the bouncing ball, so to speak, you can see us revision that and look at different ways to provide, the teams what they want, but the league what we need, and the fan base to be able to do different things. So that's exciting for me. I think you'll see perhaps another team sold before the season, which of course is another really good feather in our cap. And then you'll just see increased relationships with international clubs and increased relationships with key people in the basketball community globally.
I appreciate you, because you usually tiptoe around that question, but you actually gave us something there, so thank you. So again, we're minutes away from the reveal here. A lot of prospects waiting by their phone for that phone call. What is your advice to them before they get their name called?
Oh man, just soak up every moment. It is an opportunity that is rare. It is a great way to continue on in your passion, your dreams of playing basketball, whether it's professionally or not. You've got no choice now. You're going to be in a professional environment. Learn. Eyes open, ears open, and just absorb as much as you can. If I go back in my time as an athlete, I would have done anything to have these opportunities. So it really is the proof of concept's there. Look at the ones that have gone before you. Be able to speak to them, maybe get a feel for what to expect, and just go in there ready to compete and try to get a spot on that court. That's really what it's all about.
All right, it's that time. It is time to reveal our full draft class for this year. Now, before we do, we've decided to identify some key players and spotlight them. So let's start with our first spotlight player. It's the Montreal Alliance with the first overall pick.
With the first pick in the first round of the 2025 CEBL Draft, the Montreal Alliance select Sultan Hyder Batty from the University of Brampton.
All right, so Montreal goes with Sultan here, a bona fide scorer, something that the Alliance really need. Tell us what they're getting here with this player.
I'm going to be honest with you, D. I think Sultan Hyder Batty is probably one of the more versatile players in this year's CEBL draft. He's coming off a season where he averaged a double-double, 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game. And honestly, as a 6'4" guard, what they do with him at Brandon is normally they put him at the 3 or the 2, and they put the ball in his hands. They let the offense flow through him. He'll work the perimeter and can create his own shot. Or what he can also do is he can work down low in the paint and create his own shot from there. So he's a very versatile player. Now, obviously, 6'4". I don't think you want someone 6'4".
Tough to do that in the
exactly,
CEBL,
working in the paint against 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" true bigs.
Yep.
But honestly, what I can see Montreal doing with him is putting him at the 2, giving him some reps, letting the offense flow through him, seeing if he can bring up the ball. And obviously, he's a very athletic player, so he can keep up with the pace of the game.
Yeah.
But the big thing for him is it's his first season in the league, right? So for him, it's all about learning what it means to be a pro. And based on the season he just had at Brandon, I think he's very deserving of being a first overall pick in this year's draft. So very exciting prospect for sure.
The gears in my head are moving. Ruggsy Miller-Moore, right? It seems like that's what Montreal is getting here. Now, Montreal last season finished 6-14, was the host city, gave Niagara a scare in that Final Four, but they did struggle offensively in the league. What do you think that player comp does for this Montreal team?
Yeah, I think about the physicality of Ruggsy. I think about how much he uses his frame. You mentioned 6'4", but being able to post up. I think that there is some room for that ability. Back-to-basket guards are so unique in the way that they can move on the court, and that's generally something that could be used in the CBL. But then the athleticism is something that pops out to me when you watch Sultan. And I think generally how that translates to the game, you said he could keep up with the pace of the professional league, but being able to do that consistently and also make the most out of your opportunity in the CEBL, that's something that I'm looking forward to with this number 1 overall pick. It is a great pick. It's a high upside pick, and it's about developing that upside and getting him to the level that he can be.
Second consecutive year, Montreal keeping it in their backyard with the selection as well, right?
Absolutely.
Some home cooking.
Home cooking indeed. I'm sure Montreal fans will be excited to see one of their very own suit up an Alliance jersey, and training camp should be really, really excited for everyone. So Montreal with their pick. Let's go to our next spotlight pick. For our next spotlight pick, here are the Edmonton Stingers with the 8th overall selection.
With the 8th pick of the first round of the 2025 CEBL Draft, the Edmonton Stingers select Aaron Rooms from Toronto Metropolitan University.
With our second spotlight pick, it's the Edmonton Stingers with Aaron Rooms, a player I know that excites you.
Yeah.
Also, Jordan Baker in this basketball club, he sees something in Aaron Rooms.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this is the second year now that he's bringing Rooms back shows that how much he believes in the potential of this player. I know you'll get into it, but he had an absolutely awesome year in the OUA, and just being able to dominate for TMU. I think he is a 3-level scorer. This is a guy who can score on all positions, 6'6" guy who has the size. I think that fits the mold of what can succeed in the CEBL. Now it's about just putting it together and being consistent at it. Can he crack the rotation for Edmonton? Can he be a more consistent player? And I think that early season that we were mentioning before, that's going to be the time where he can maximize his opportunity. Can he do it? That's the question moving forward.
All right, so this is Aaron's 3rd season in the league, and every year we've seen him evolve. What version are we getting this year with Aaron?
You're getting a conference MVP. You're getting an All-Canadian. Aaron Rooms is coming off probably the greatest season of his career. He averaged 22 points per game this year. He shot 46% from the field, and he shot 41% from 3. And I think the unique thing about Aaron Rooms, you alluded to it earlier, a 6'6" guard. And what's so special about him is he has the body of an NFL tight end.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Wide, right?
Wide, right? And you're looking at a young man who has a solid mid-range game. He makes a little under half the threes that he takes, and he can bang with anybody in the paint. Right, and I think the big thing with Aaron Rooms I've noticed is that throughout his career, every year he's gotten significantly better. And I think now, going into his 3rd season in CEBL, and with his university time coming to an end, the question now is, can he take that next step into becoming a pro?
Totally.
So this is going to be a huge season for Aaron Rooms, trying to crack the rotation, and of course trying to see if he can kind of carve out what that next chapter of his basketball life will look like.
You just described a Jordan Baker player to me.
Absolutely.
Right? That sounds like Jordan Baker to me. And obviously he had a lot of success in this league and evolved as the years went by as well. So excited to see what he does in Edmonton. And we had the opportunity to speak with him. So let's go to that interview. We are now joined by the 8th overall pick in this year's draft via the Edmonton Stingers. It's Aaron Rooms. Aaron, thanks for taking the time to speak with us here today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Aaron, you're going into like we said, your 3rd season in the CEBL, and you're kind of up there in age. You just finished your 4th year. Congrats on the season, by the way. Big question for you. What is your goal this year in the CEBL?
Yeah, again, just to carry on what happened this season. Just making sure that I'm an impact, the best ways that I can, just being a sponge too. Like, that's what it's all about for me, just developing and continuing to learn from, the great personnel that we have in the league. I got a great coach, going on to Edmonton. So just wanting to learn and continue to up my game. You know what I'm saying?
What's interesting about student athletes is in the past, when you thought about what you're going to do after university, college, it was, Europe, or maybe for a lot of kids, that bubble got burst. But I feel like a lot of you are probably having conversations about playing in the CEBL. Like, how cool is it to have those conversations, and how seriously are student athletes thinking about playing professionally in the league?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been thinking about being a pro since I was a little kid, when I first started playing. And then definitely now seeing it come into, fruition is huge. And, I remember even like a few days ago, the guys were coming up to me and asking me like, oh, where are you going? And, they were just seeing the light in their eyes, seeing how excited they are, and, seeing it's actually possible, firsthand. I think that's the biggest thing. And, again, like, I'm just grateful to be an inspiration to my teammates and anybody else that's trying to do the same thing.
Aaron, I want to take a quick break because I have a story I want to share with you. All right, I'm a Toronto guy, so I'm always at the Mattamy watching you play. Sometimes I'm over at York. One time I was at York watching y'all face the York Lions, TMU versus York, and I was sitting down beside York Lions football head coach Dexter Janke. All right, and he's actually a former CFL player. He's won a Grey Cup, and he was looking at you. All right. And he saw you come down to rebound. He looked over to me and he said, Deshaun, do you know if that young man wants to play football? Because if he does, I could pull some strings, get him over here to York, and he could be my starting tight end tomorrow. All right. Yeah. So big question for you. Do people ever wonder how do you move so well for a big man? Do people ever compare you to being a football player? Do you ever get comments about your size and how it translates over so beautifully to your game?
Yeah, I get that all the time. Some of my coaches even saying like, dude, you're playing the wrong sport. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny that I actually used to play football. I played it for a year. Wasn't my thing. I feel like I like basketball more, but I used to be a linebacker, funny enough. But yeah, I get it all the time. Sometimes I even think about, hey, maybe I should switch sports. But, I think I like hoops more. But yeah, I get it all the time.
As you prepare to head off to Edmonton, what is your message to Stinger fans?
Just get ready for another great season. Those are some great fans. I remember last summer, the gym was always full and the energy was always high, and that's something I always remember about, Edmonton and, their fan base is just, it's great. So I just hope that they're ready for another great season, and I'm looking forward to seeing them all.
And it's our last spotlight. It's the Ottawa Blackjacks with the 24th overall pick.
With the 4th pick of the 3rd round of the CEBL 2025 draft, the Ottawa Blackjacks select Malik Grant from Humber College.
Our final spotlight pick, it's Ottawa with Malik Grant. What do you love about this guy?
He's a winner. He's a winner. I'd say he's probably the most accomplished CCAA draft pick that we've seen in the CEBL draft, and he might be the most accomplished CCAA draft pick that we see for a long time.
Wow.
This young man's coming off a season where he was the conference's MVP in the OCAA. He won a national championship with Humber. Doesn't get any better than that. He shot 46% from the field. 6'6" guard. Can do it all, right? And now he's getting his chance in the CEBL, and he's in his 4th year. And quite frankly, I think he's a player that a lot of people think is deserving of a pro opportunity, is deserving of playing against the best competition that we have here in Canada. And I think a lot of people are excited to see what he brings to the table. The unique thing...
Yeah, I was about to ask you about this.
The unique thing about Malik Grant is that he's finishing his 4th season at Humber. And he's done it all, like I said, and he's heading into a season where he could transfer if he wants to and play 1 more year, 2 more years maybe, of college basketball here in Canada. And if he doesn't want to stay at Humber and if he does want to leave, the question is, where does he go? He's in Ottawa. Who's the head coach in Ottawa? TMU men's basketball head coach Dave DiViero, right? GM, links to the Ottawa GGs. There is a potential for him to maybe end up somewhere in Ottawa next season, collegiately. Maybe it could be the GGs. Maybe it could be the Carleton Ravens, who are 1 piece away from being back in contention, right? Or if you're a transfer, a lot of transfers like to come to Toronto. And if you love to come to Toronto, you go to TMU.
Yeah.
So I think the question for Malik Grant this summer is, where is he going to go? And of course, him being in the CEBL is going to add to his draft stock or his transfer stock and make him one of the most sought after U Sports transfers out there. So I'm excited to see this season for him. It's going to be really big for him.
So it sounds like it's going to be a bidding war.
Yeah.
And this is a real opportunity for him to showcase his talents. What player do you see in Grant?
The shooting reminds me of Javon Blair for the River Lions. Just the basically pure stroke, be able to shoot the ball from everywhere, movement shooter that can knock it down. That aspect also can play really, really well in the CEBL, because if you have an opportunity to play and you bring that one quality of being a good shooter, you get that chance to be able to play. And also if he's playing for a team that he's trying to basically, show off for, that adds an element of being able to develop this year and get opportunity to maybe figure out what next year is for him.
Yeah, he's going to have a great opportunity in Ottawa. That Blackjacks team's always in the hunt at the end of the season, and I'm sure he's going to be able to contribute to that team and bring his championship caliber play for that Blackjacks team.
A lot of threes. I'm a really good three-point shooter. Good defense on the defensive end, guarding mainly 1, 2, 3. Sometimes even the 4 if I have to switch. I'm a good playmaker, so being able to make the right plays on both ends of the floor. You guys are going to be getting a very good season this year, not by only just me, but my teammates as well. I'm looking forward to playing in front of you guys, and thank you guys for all the support that you guys are going to bring this season.
Fellas, it is time. All right, it's been 242 days.
Yes.
5,808 hours.
Boom shakalaka.
The man got it right. The man got it right.
Yeah.
Sensing a lot of sarcasm here. How many minutes is it, tough guy?
Well, clearly it's like 348,000 minutes.
You got Rain Man over here. It's helpful when you got the producer giving you the numbers, eh?
Well, I'm good at the maths.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, I did all that up here, but it's time, all right? These kids have been waiting. Let's reveal our 2025 draft class. All right, this is a big day for a lot of these kids. Finally getting the opportunity to play some professional basketball. Let me throw some more numbers at you while we're here, all right? 27 U Sports and 3 CCAA players in this draft. 25 different academic institutions represented. 21 first-time players and 9 returning players. 21 different home cities represented and 7 different provinces represented. Fellas, a very deep draft class.
Canada, man. It's showing the growth of the game in the Canadian level, and I think this league has always been a platform for some of these players to develop, to get better, and to really shine at the professional level. That draft right there is the embodiment of that.
As someone who runs Persevere, this has got to be a really cool thing for you.
Of course. I mean, the league is growing, the draft is growing, but of course the talent at the collegiate level is growing as well.
Absolutely.
So you're going to see a lot of big names. Again, a lot of big names, a lot of quality players coming over to this league. And of course, no other place to showcase these talents than the CEBL, right? So I'm happy to see it.
With the first pick of the first round of the 2025 CEBL Draft, the Montreal Alliance select Sultan Hyder Batty from Brandon University, Liam Richin from York University. The Montreal Alliance select Jaheim Joseph from Concordia University.
But I got to fight, Rocky Balboa. Yeah, I got to fight like Rocky Balboa. Yeah, I got to fight, Rocky Balboa. Yeah, I got to fight like Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa with the fight, yeah, I got to fight, yeah, out of my mind. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right. Gotta walk for, got the dog in my sight. They gotta.
All right, fellas, let's start here with Montreal. We've talked about Sultan. Tell me a little more about Liam.
Do you remember first time around when I talked about Sultan, I said we won't have him play in the paint because in the CEBL, there are true bigs. I think Liam Richin is one of those true bigs. 6'11", forward from York University, averages 14 points per game this season and led the country in blocks with 62. Love how he can stretch the floor. He's going to be a welcomed addition to the Montreal Alliance.
Okay, I'm sorry. I may seem a little distracted. What is going on right now? You're doing this whole Bob Ross thing?
I'm drawing a hand because he said blocks, and so Liam, block king.
Okay, so that's a
and
hand.
it's a crown. It kind of looks like
feathers
a crown
to me.
too.
Okay, your assignment is Jaheim. Tell me a little more about Jaheim, please.
Yeah, okay. Well, Jaheim actually has a really cool story. First of all, he tried out for Montreal in 2024, so they're bringing him back. But also, he lost his eye in 2020 and plays with an eye patch. So the fact that he's here playing professional basketball, getting an opportunity to play in the CBL is such a massive accomplishment. And he can hoop. He can play. And so I think that's an aspect that I'm interested in watching for Jaheim in general. Montreal, kind of going for upside. Guys who can kind of develop and be stars in this league if they figure it out.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you did your homework.
Thank you. Let me get back to this.
To your games here. 3 new additions to the Montreal Alliance. So congratulations to these student athletes who will be suiting up in training camp for Montreal.
The Brampton Honey Badgers select Johan Sam from the University of Windsor, Connor Landell from the University of New Brunswick. The Brampton Honey Badgers select Mike DeMagus from McMaster University.
All right, on to Brampton here, a team that finished 6-14. They were second last in points per game, second last in field goal percentage, and also second last in 3 points made. So they're going to be looking for a lot of offense here. What is Sheldon getting with this recruiting class?
Okay, let's do a quick breakdown. You got Johan Sam from Windsor, you got Connor Lindell from UMB, and you got Mike DeMaggis from McMaster. Key player to look out for on this board, I'm looking at Mike DeMaggis. Yes, you got it, S. Mike DeMaggis from McMaster. He's a very explosive guard. Averaged only 12 points per game this year in the OUA. He was dealing with a little bit of injury, but he's a big spark plug off the bench. He was a big spark plug off the bench for McMaster. Was able to become a third-team OUA All-Star, and honestly, he's one of the best pure scorers in the OUA. So I'm curious to see this year if he actually does play in the CEBL, what he brings to the table on the professional floor alongside his teammates over in Brampton.
I see we're playing Pictionary, so I'm guessing that's some sort of bird.
Yes, good job. Very good.
Wait.
Look, McMaster, Marauders.
Okay, Marauder. There you go.
The bird of McMaster, of course. Look, DeMaggis also played for Sheldon Casimir, and this is a connection right there. I first wanted to draw a home because, home is where the heart is, but let's go with the bird because that makes more sense.
The Marauder is it's more like an eagle-looking bird, right?
That's an eagle to me.
It's like a chicken.
All right. Well, hopefully the drawing improves with each segment and each pick here. But excited for Coach Casimir and the Brampton Honey Badgers. Looks like a promising young group. Congratulations to the Honey Badgers.
The Saskatchewan Rattlers select Declan Peterson from the University of Calgary. The Saskatchewan Rattlers select Isaac Simon from the University of Alberta. The Saskatchewan Rattlers select Easton Tim from the University of Saskatchewan.
Up next, we have the Saskatchewan Rattlers, another team that finished 6-14, struggled offensively, and this will be the first time for head coach Eric Magdens, who was a lead assistant for the last 3 seasons. What is coach getting with these crop guys?
He's getting a pretty solid group. You have Declan Peterson from Calgary, Isaac Simon from Alberta, and Easton Tim, hometown boy from University of Saskatchewan. Declan Peterson is a really, really good big. He's 6'11", center from Calgary. Had a great season, 6th in the nation in blocks this year. Averaged 7 and 9, so not that much on the score sheet, but defensively makes up for it. He's a great rim protector and had a pretty good season. Honestly, he was injured during the playoffs, but if he was healthy, many people thought Calgary would have won a national championship. And I think the next big player on this list is obviously Isaac Simon, someone they've invested in. You can get into that a little bit later.
Yep.
But he's coming off a career year where he averaged 19 points per game at Alberta.
Yeah, I mean, look, Simon, a guy that they are bringing back here, which is important. Seems like they're invested in him. I did the S emoji here, the thing you used to draw in class.
For you or for Isaac?
No, for Sask, because they got 2 Sask people,
okay.
So I think that's good. Look, home is where the heart is. They got 2 guys from Saskatchewan that they're trying to develop and incorporate. That's all what the CEBL is about. So little S emoji here.
The Ottawa Blackjacks are going to select Justin Medjak Tajore from the University of Ottawa. We select Alvin Inkio-Garay from the Nipissing University. The Ottawa Blackjacks select Malik Grant from Humber College.
All right, up next we have the Ottawa Blackjacks, a team that finished 9-11 last season, always in the conversation at the end of the year. We already talked about Malik Grant. Tell me about the other 2.
I don't know what y'all are noticing right now. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but I'm going to say all these classes are pretty solid, okay? Right. When it comes to the GGs, aside from Malik Grant, we got Justin Tajore from Ottawa, and we got Alvin Inkio-Garay from Nipissing. I'll say this, when it comes to Alvin, he's a sharpshooter. This year, 52 three-pointers made, 9th in U Sports. He's a guy that you could put at the perimeter, give him the ball, and he'll make that big shot. He's that type of guy. When it comes to Justin, he's a winner. He comes from the Ottawa GGs. This year, the GGs won an OUA championship. Hometown guy. Keep him in the city.
Yeah.
Keep him around. He was with the program last year. And honestly, throughout his career at Ottawa, he's averaged 14 points per game. He's a pretty consistent guy. All right, so I'm curious to see what he brings to the table this year. Also, he's a Division I transfer. He was at St. Bonaventure before.
Woj.
Shout outs to
Big
Woj.
Woj guys.
There you
Woj
go.
guys.
Shout outs to Woj. So curious to see what he brings to the table this year.
Yeah, look, he played for the Blackjacks last year also, so getting him back into the system to develop in another year is huge. I remember, at least the thing I remember from Ottawa is how much swag they had last year. How much swag. They just were dripped out. And so
Where are you going with this?
This is the emoji I'm picking here. Oh, let me add that again.
Is that you?
That's me, because you got swag and you got
That
me.
is certainly not swag, but
Well, look at that, the suit, the shoes.
I'll give you the
that
shoes.
means we're going to move on here. Congratulations to our newest members of the Ottawa Blackjacks.
The Winnipeg Sea Bears select Jeffrey James from the University of Victoria. The Winnipeg Sea Bears select Mason Krause from the University of Manitoba. The Winnipeg Sea Bears select Brendan Amoya from McMaster University.
Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. No rush, go on, move dumb. Pushing, so move dumb. Peace and love turn to peace and gloves. Now you gotta do a run up. Generations caught up. Look how things will switch. People there quick.
The Winnipeg Sea Bears, 9-11 as well. Disappointing first round loss in the playoffs last season, but big season ahead because they are the host city. So you know we're gonna see them in that Final Four. So they don't want to get this one wrong. Deshaun, tell me about these guys.
Once again, great class, but I want to talk about Jeffrey James. He's a winner. Just came off a season where he won the national championship with the Victoria Vikes. All right, listen, on the stat sheet this year, he only averaged 10 points per game. But the truth is, the Vikes were a score-by-committee team that fed the hot hand. And the truth is, Jeffrey James was the hot hand when it mattered the most. Get this, S, as you're making your drawing. In the national championship quarterfinal game, 17 points. In the national championship semifinal, 21 points. And in the national championship game against the Calgary Dinos, 15 points to bring the Vikes their first national championship since 1997. Wow. Jeffrey James is a winner, and he shows up in big moments.
That's
and he's
exciting.
the type of guy they're going to want if they're going to want to win the championship this year.
Wow.
That's the quality of play they'll need in Winnipeg when they're hosting the Final Four this year. Mason, hometown kid.
Yeah,
What do you got
I mean,
on him?
obviously the fact that he's the hometown kid is awesome. I also think he's one of the best playmakers that we saw in the Western Conference. Just being able to hoop. Also, again, like you said, a hometown kid in the host city is pretty cool. Do you guys like the drawing, though, of the building the body out?
I think they might consider updating their logo and going full body now after this. Great job, Ez. I'm very proud of you.
Pretty good.
Yes, awesome. Well, maybe this is the logo they'll use for championship weekend, but in the meantime, congratulations to our newest Sea Bears.
The Calgary Surge select DJ Jackson from St. Francis Xavier University. Javier Gilgis Glasgow from Toronto Metropolitan University. The Calgary Surge select William Tong from Southern Alberta Institute of Technology.
Left hand off the glass.
It's the Calgary Surge, 11-9 last season, second consecutive championship weekend performance. A couple of upsets en route to getting there as well. We got an NBA thread with one of these picks, S.
You guys see it? Gilgis, yes, he is the cousin of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's Javier Gilgeous-Glasgow. We'll see if SGA ends up making it out to Calgary to watch one of these games, but also just a familiar name, right, in Canadian basketball.
Deshaun, this team's getting a real impact player with DJ Jackson.
DJ Jackson showtime, but I want to talk a little bit more about Gilgis Glasgow because
Okay.
he's actually a good player, right?
Yeah.
Listen, he's a guy that averaged 12 points per game this year. It's his first season back in Canada. He spent a couple years down south, and he's the type of guy that can give you 15 on a night, he can give you 30 on a night, or he can facilitate and give you 10 assists on a night. He's a really talented, selfless player who I think is going to be a star in U Sports basketball and maybe even the CEBL. Let's talk about DJ.
Yeah.
AUS MVP this year, nation's leading scorer, 24.2 points per game this year. He's showtime. Okay, and I think Calgary's getting a great player in DJ Jackson, and there's a little bit of St. FX roots in Calgary. All right, last year they picked up Gutlak James, another St. FX player with their first overall selection or first round pick in the CEBL draft, and the senior advisor for the Calgary Surge is Steve Konchalski, who actually was the head coach of the St. FX X-Men for 46 years. What were you doing 46 years ago?
Not being born.
Me neither. So anyways, DJ Jackson's in good hands, and I think the Calgary Surge will be in good hands as well. This is going to be an exciting draft class. But
it's going to be a movie.
It's going to be a movie. There you go.
Shooting Stars select David Walker out of Toronto Metropolitan University, Coat Thomas out of St. Francis Xavier University, Samuel Wong out of Centennial College.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again.
Is it up to Coat
Thomas? Even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail. Now hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know where we at. We know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I don't know. Here and stop it. Here is strange. How they cannot see the future, but see profit here.
History.
We gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise. Yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring it to
We're heading to the ends. It's the Scarborough Shooting Stars finishing the season 12-8, but a disappointing first round loss in the playoffs last season.
Yep.
But David Walker is returning.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of David Walker. I think he could potentially be one of the best defenders in all of the CEBL. He just has to live up to that hype. He was awesome for Brampton last year. Obviously, he's played for the Shooting Stars, so he's familiar with that. But generally, I think now you have him at another level of confidence coming into a year where he understands the league. He knows what he has to do, and he knows what his niche is, which is, I think, the important part of this. So, David Walker, big fan of his abilities in the Shooting Stars, with the Shooting Stars.
Now, I see Deshaun has taken over the drawing duties here.
This is going to be showtime. Really and truly, I'm excited to see David Walker back with the Scarborough Shooting Stars. You mentioned it earlier. He was with the championship team 2 years ago. He started on that team as a U Sports player, averaged 10 points per game, 21 minutes per game. He's going to be showtime. And then I think he's a player who's in his final years of eligibility in terms of being a collegiate player. And now is, again, taking that next step to being a pro. There's a lot on the line for David Walker this summer. This is a tryout for him to show that he can be a pro in his basketball life. So I think for David Walker, I think for him, it's about taking it seriously this summer and putting his best foot forward and really being able to shape that next chapter of his basketball life.
Yeah, I think when we come to voting time and we're voting for Developmental Player of the Year, David Walker certainly will be in the conversation.
His name won't come up for sure.
And speaking of conversations, can you explain your drawing?
Green flag. I like the Shooting Stars.
What happened to the Showtime?
All right, green flag. Well, congratulations to our newest members of the Scarborough Shooting Stars.
The Edmonton Stingers select Aaron Rooms from Toronto Metropolitan University. The Edmonton Stingers select Lei Tong from Cape Breton University. The Edmonton Stingers select Jalen Shirley from the University of British Columbia, Okanagan.
Edmonton Stingers 13-7 last year. Great sophomore season for Jordan Baker, but if you ask him, it was disappointing because they got upset in the first round via Calgary. We've talked about Aaron Rooms a bit, but how about you share some more?
We got Lei Tong from Cape Breton CBU out in the east, and we got Jalen Shirley out in the west at UBC Okanagan. Jalen Shirley, what stands out to me about him is he's just a hard worker. All right, he's a 6'1" guard from Toronto, actually works out at my gym. And listen,
What a plug.
There you go. Yeah.
No, he had a really good year this year. He had a career 16 point per game year this year, and he's just a hard worker. Very good mid-range game. Loves to facilitate the ball. Loves to put other people in positions to be successful. He's that type of guy. Works hard, puts his best foot forward, and honestly, it's one of those where you put in the good work and you see the results. He's that type of guy. So I'm really happy to see him get picked up in this year's draft. But what are you doing, S?
I'm trying to draw springs, but I'm having difficulty.
I was going to say, we have an early Brock candidate with Tong here.
Yeah, he's a high flyer. He can jump out the gym. And so I actually think he's a guy who we're probably going to have on the Bruh segment a lot because of the way that he can jump out the gym. We had Tajay Moore on there a lot because he could jump out the gym. Tong, probably another candidate here.
The only thing I took away from that is Deshaun lifts. So, I mean, man's in great shape. It shows.
I try.
Protein shaker.
We all try.
Jordan Baker would appreciate that.
I'm not as big as him, though. He got the bicep curls and everything. So,
yes.
yeah.
Congratulations to the new Stingers. Have fun in Edmonton.
The Niagara River Lions select Gatlock James from St. Francis Xavier University. The River Lions select Charles Robert from Bishop's University. The Niagara River Lions select Thierry Chabola from Brock University.
I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's on net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans.
It's your 2024 CEBL champions, Niagara River Lions. Not much you can say about this basketball club. They were dominant all year last season. And a good crop of guys coming in for Vic Grasso.
Yeah, I think the pick that stands out to me the most, Charles Robert from Bishops. He's the other MVP that we have in this year's draft class, MVP of the RSCQ conference. Had a pretty consistent year for his standards this year, averaged 15 points per game, which led the RSCQ. Also had 3.2 assists per game and 5.4 rebounds per game. So he had a pretty good season with Bishops. The big thing about him that I love is that in Quebec, you have this culture of big man basketball. And you see it very, very often. And last year, you talk about Ishmael Duff, right? And now it's like Charles Robert is the next big man coming out of Quebec to continue that tradition of big man basketball. And so I'm curious to see how it pans on the CBL because, of course, in the CBL, we love having our bigs. We love having our true bigs. And, of course, having a big from Quebec where big man basketball is very popular, very dominant. I'm curious to see how this pick pans out.
Yeah, and that falls in line with the type of players that Vic Grasso brings onto his rosters with big men, right?
Yeah, I think he empowers his big men more than maybe anybody else in the CBL, really. I wrote the 2 championships, kind of drew the CBL championships, if you can see. And I wrote 2 because I think maybe there's a chance this team goes back-to-back, depending on how that roster shakes out. But ultimately, empowering some of these younger guys to get opportunity. It's something Vic Grasso likes to do, especially as a former U Sports national champion.
Yeah, I see ice cream cones, so I definitely want some dessert after this. But
they could be ice cream cones.
The first one looks like a dripping ice cream cone.
We'll give you an E for effort.
Because they got drip too. Yeah.
Congratulations to our newest members of the River Lions.
Vancouver Bandits select Nikola Guzina from UBC. Vancouver Bandits select Mikhail Malabuyak from Western University.
David Mutabazi from Trinity Western University.
This ain't no regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. If you talking and talking me nice, I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights.
In the screen, pick and roll, and a slam.
The game is in trouble. I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle. I got it for real. You'll keep me going. I wake up and hustle. You instantly buckle. I've been in the field. Man of the town. You've been in your fields.
And finally, we have the Vancouver Bandits, also 14-6, and this is a real alternate universe, right? They lose that championship game by 2 points. We could be talking about them as champions. And I think for Kyle Julius, he's just as hungry as he was last year to get what he probably thinks is rightfully his, and it reflects with this draft class.
You know, when we look at this class, first off, I want to say Vancouver, when it comes to the draft, they've had it good the last couple years. All right, Diego Mafia, Sam Maillet. They've gotten some of the top players in youth sports, but I think it's time for some new names, all right? Some new players. They kept it local when it came to this draft, and I think I want to keen in on David Mutabazi from Trinity Western, really solid guard, another 6'4" guard, similarly to our boy Sultan Haider Bati, right? Similar frame, very athletic. The big thing about him, he finished top 10 in rebounds this year.
Wow.
As a guard.
That's awesome.
Kyle's going to love that.
Kyle's going to love that.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle loves hard workers. David Mutabazi's a hard worker, 12 points per game as well. So I'm curious to see what he brings to the table with his athleticism as well as his ability to just work hard and grind. This is a grit and grind culture that we have in Vancouver. I think David Mutabazi fits that culture.
S, you've given up on the drawing.
Yeah, I can't draw a Bandit, but Fox fan, you know?
Fox fan. We're all fans here. Congratulations to our newest Bandits. All right, our draft class is officially revealed, and with a special message, it's our commissioner, Mike Moriali.
Well, a very proud moment for me to be able to welcome all 30 new draftees to the CEBL, and going into our 7th season. It's going to be a fantastic season. I wish you all the very best. Congratulations. Now the real hard work begins as we get ready for our May 11th tip-off in Edmonton. All the best.
Okay, that's a wrap for us here. The season is approaching. We're getting so much closer. So don't forget, May 11th, we tip off. And don't forget to grab your tickets. If you can't make a game, CBL Plus is where you want to go to watch all of our live games and bonus content. Follow us on social. Championship weekend is coming up.
I can't wait.
What better way to spend your summer than head to Winnipeg and watch some championship caliber basketball? It's going to be a great time. And we come back with CBL Weekly as
another year.
I can't wait.
Another year older.
What shenanigans are we going to get up to?
Dealing with this guy for another year. Oh, my God.
But speaking of shenanigans, Deshaun, you've been such a joy. Thanks for adding the level of knowledge and expertise to the program here today.
I think we can agree.
MVP? Yeah. Give him the MVP chain.
Crown me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right here. I love the drip. No, it's been real. It's been real with you both. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for talking some youth sports basketball. Holler at me if you need me.
I was going to say,
of course.
This is the last time we're going to see you.
I think I'll be back. I'll be back. We'll know.
Well, again, congratulations to all of our developmental players. And May 11th, start counting down.
Can't wait.